Hi everyone, my name is Kevin. I'm the general manager for Eurus Cafe here in San Diego. I've been invited here to go over one of my favorite summer cocktails with everybody. So this is going to be a gin-based drink. It's called Seedless in San Diego, so we'll get started. First, we do have our simple syrup. So simple syrup, this is a store-bought version we have. The easiest way to make this at home if you don't have the store-bought version with you, it is just going to be half sugar, half hot water. Just going to whisk the ingredients together until the sugar is clear, it forms a syrup. Go ahead and let that cool down before you start your drink. Our next ingredient is going to be, I do have a little bit of fresh lime juice I've already prepared here for you. We do have some extra limes, we'll show you how to use that towards the end. I have a bartender's measure, or what's called a jigger. This one has an 1 3/4 ounce on one side and 3/4 ounce on the other. I have a mixing glass here set up with a strainer and a mixing utensil. If you don't have a mixing glass, you can use a classic cocktail strainer too as well. I just don't have one of those. The other ingredient I have here too, one of our other tools, is going to be a muddler, okay? So we'll show you how to use that in a minute. I'm using a Tanqueray gin for today. Tanqueray gin is probably one of my favorite gins. It's not overly spiced. If you were to use something like a Hendrick's or a different, a couple of those other gins have a lot of botanicals in them, are very, very forward in their flavor. Tanqueray tends to be a little bit smoother. That's why I kind of like to use this in a lot of my mixed cocktails. If I was having a martini or something that was a little bit more Tanqueray based, or gin based, I might go with one of our, like a more spiced kind of gin. Next thing, we do have some fresh watermelon I picked up at the market today. I've cut them into about 1 1/4 inch cubes. We'll show you how to use that in a second. Then I have a small glass. I know on the recipe I called for a tall Thomas Collins glass. I went with today more of a wider kind of rocks glass. I have a little bit of tahini. So tahini is going to be a chili lime spice mix with salt in there. Then I have some simple ice. I have a little tiny teaspoon. We'll show you how to use that later. I have a cocktail stick for our garnish. I have a microplane. And then I have extra bowl, so we'll show you how to get started with that right now. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take out my cocktail strainer. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna wanna add all my wet ingredients plus what I'm gonna be muddling prior to doing my ice, okay? Because that's gonna allow me to muddle a little bit better. So the first thing the drink calls for is gonna be 3/4 ounce of our simple syrup, or 0.75% of an ounce. So we add that into the glass. It's going to be equal parts on that on the lime juice. Okay. Then I'm looking for 2 ounces of Tanqueray. So again, we have 1/4 on one side, 3/4 ounce on the other. So I'm going to go ahead and fill the top of this. Give it a little bit extra, don't tell anybody. And next what I'm gonna do, so there's 2 ways to make this cocktail, or a mocktail I should say. So the easiest way to do this, if I wanted to add alcohol, I'm gonna take 2 cubes of watermelon. If I wanted to make this non-alcoholic, say I wanted just a light, refreshing summer beverage during the day, I can use as many cubes that I wanted to, but I would say recommend about 6 to 7 with these same ingredients would provide a nice refreshing mocktail versus a cocktail. So next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my muddler. I'm gonna use the rounded part down, and I'm going to simply go ahead and break up my watermelon here. So again, what I'm looking to do is start to extract the juices from the melon into this. And the reason I don't cut that watermelon anymore is because every time I cut it down, it's going to give off a lot of juice already. So I want most of the juice to kind of end up in the glass. I'm not doing a blended drink, so to say, so I don't want to throw this in a blender. It's nice to be a nice straight cocktail. So now I have my liquor, my lime juice, and my Tanqueray gin in there with my simple syrup. So a couple ice cubes that I'm going to add into this, just a handful. And we're doing that to start to kind of cool the inside of this drink here. So we're gonna let that set for a second. So next what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take cut piece of lime. I'm gonna add that onto the top rim of my glass. The reason for this is I need my seasoning mix to go ahead and stick to it. I'm gonna kind of shake off some of my extra. I'm going to then lightly coat the top part of my glass here. And my tahini mix. Now again, tahini typically is going to be used as a seasoning on top of fruits, especially in a lot of marketplaces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fill the glass real generously with ice too as well. Okay. I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way. So now I got a nice topped off glass. We're going to go ahead and remove my stir stick. I'm grabbing my strainer. At this point, if I had a cocktail tin, I'd go ahead and throw the part that strains on top. And if you are using one of these strainers, you're going to push down a little bit so it gets all the way down to the bottom and actually strains everything out. I don't really care if we get too many seeds in there. All right. So now all I've left, I have a little bit of the watermelon pulp there on the bottom. That's perfect. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on our garnish, because no summer cocktail is complete without an awesome little garnish. So I'm going to take one of my bigger watermelon cubes here. This is where my teaspoon's going to come in. So I'm going to really want to dig it into the side of this. If anybody has a melon baller at home, that would work too. But I'm looking to get kind of almost just like a nice little round watermelon piece going in there. Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my stick. I do want the nice rounded part at the top. So when I come through, I'm not going to go through the bottom of this or it's going to flip over. I'm going to stay aligned on the top part of my cocktail just to be a little pretty. We're going to go ahead and set that on the side of the glass. This is where microplane, this is kind of extra if you guys wanted to do something different. So I had a microplane. I'm going to add a little bit of lime zest onto the top of this just to give it a really nice look and flavor. And then it's going to get stuck on the bottom of the microplane. I'll hit it up a little bit. And that right there is a perfect summer cocktail you can enjoy poolside, in your backyard, or in your apartment with zero AC. So thanks for joining me today. Thanks for coming out and celebrating this great organization and all of your donations and everything. We definitely appreciate it. So this is myself signing off. Again, this is Kevin, and have a wonderful summer. Enjoy.